I'm not going to lie, it feels as though it has taken nearly a dozen takes to re-record myself doing an intro over this episode, but welcome. If you're listening to this, that means whatever comes next in this episode made the cut for the newest episode. I keep saying the same thing over and over and over again. Anyway, enjoy the newest episode of the Quarter Life Crisis. My bad that it took like a month off, but I hope you enjoy this episode. There's going to be a little bit of jump cuts here and there because this is my first time hopping back on the mic in like a month, so bear with me. Have a good time, sit back and relax, or do whatever it is that you do when you sit down and enjoy a podcast or go on a run or lift weights. Enjoy yourself. I put the topics this is me in post, by the way, of course, if you didn't know that already. There goes my timer. I need to go put a pizza in the oven, but we're going to talk about songs that never go stale. We're going to get a little vulnerable in this episode as well. We kind of do that in almost all the episodes, but we're going to talk about a couple of moments of frustration because this is the Quarter Life Crisis. We're here to figure things out and understand why we get frustrated and whatever. But the last thing we're going to talk about, this is just the topics. This is the rough draft going into the final draft. Enjoy yourself as we talk about jobs that are for weird-ass people. Is it still awkward sitting down on my computer and recording myself speaking into a microphone in an empty room, looking at my Roku City pass by, and then looking at my Adobe Audition? Yeah. Is that why I've been gone for a little while? Partly, yeah. But today's date is Wednesday, August 9th, 2023. And if you're listening to this right now, I want to go ahead and say thank you, because I've taken like a month off from this show. And whenever I first started recording myself and doing this and editing, I was like, you know what, dude, I'm going to do this every single week. It's going to be one episode a week. I'm going to keep myself on track. I'm going to keep myself on schedule. But remember, this is called the Quarter Life Crisis. The entire show is about me figuring it out, life in general. I'm not going to get too deep in the first minute of me talking on here. But if you are listening, I do want to say thank you, because in the time that I have not been doing this, people have still been listening. So there's still a little bit of an audience out there. I mean, I talk about the show that I do at work sometimes. I'll try not to talk about it too much because, you got to separate church and state in those situations. And I'm trying not to get all these damn inhales. I'm going to probably have to edit out a lot of it. But I'm trying out a new, way of holding the microphone when I'm sitting at my desk. I used to have it set up on a thing that I do with when I stream video games and whatnot. I don't stream a whole lot of games on here, but I went back to the way I would hold the microphone when I'm doing interviews with people, just sitting on the couch, having a conversation. I have two different mic stands, and I'm using the shorter one today because I'm just going to sit here, talk to you, whoever you are, and hope that we have a good time catching up on all these different notes on my phone. I figured I don't really know what to talk about because I haven't done a whole lot of cool stuff. Okay, I have done some cool things this summer. I got to say, this has been an awesome summer, but the end of it has been super hot, and I kind of want to go on a vacation soon. But I'm going to tell you about Subject to Change. That's the title of the first note that we're going to go through. And we're just going to kind of highlight and go back through stuff that I've been doing all summer long. I'll give you my perspective. Maybe it'll make you laugh. I don't know, but hello to anyone that's never listened to this show before. After taking a month off from recording, I don't really feel like just making up excuses as to why I didn't want to record. I'd rather just go ahead and start recording and talking about stuff. So we're going to talk about Subject to Change 3. I've had Subject to Change 1 and 2, and I don't know, I take notes on my phone all the time, and I just title them different things. But this one started right before I went to a concert at the Ryman Auditorium this summer. I went to go see a bluegrass band. This has been a big time summer for string bands for me. I think I might have talked about that in the most recent episode I put out. I did one where I was driving to and from Alabama for 4th of July weekend, hanging out with some friends of mine from the college radio station, but that was just through my phone microphone, so it probably didn't sound as high quality. The audio, I think, will sound much better with this microphone because I'm on more of a professional grade. But I was hanging out at the 5th and Broadway in downtown Nashville, trying to kill time. I went to like the Prince's Hot Chicken because, I talk about all the different hot chicken in Nashville. If you know me, the chicken man, that's another one of the common themes on this show, as well as hating on people that drive Nissans, more specifically Nissan Altimas. I don't want to marginalize too many people right there, but I was eating Prince's Hot Chicken, hanging out at 5th and Broadway. I got myself a new hat. I went to this concert, and, I love the Ryman. It's the best acoustics in town, one of the best places to listen to music in the world, some might say, other than in your own home in your comfortable chair or however you want to do it. But if you're going to a venue, listen to music. It was kind of tightly packed. I was sitting next to these people from Michigan. Shout out to Grandma Jody. I literally wrote that down on my phone because this was a significant crowd that I was sitting with. This is people that were kind of from different parts of the U.S., but we're big bluegrass fans. And this dude that I'm listening to used to be in one of the best bluegrass bands of the early 2000s, Allison Krauss and Union Station. I went to go see Jerry Douglas, but their opener was this dude named Peter Rowan. And to be honest, I'm going to expose my knowledge on this. I don't really know a whole lot about him. But what I did know, what I did see, what I did hear, what I did find out is the name of the mandolin player that was playing with them. This dude's name is Chris Henry. You can find him on Instagram. I'm name dropping him because this guy is wicked talented. I feel like I've name dropped this guy already in an episode that I recorded a while back, but I want to do it again because this mandolin player is amazing. And I don't think anyone that listens to this show has any power to make this guy famous, but I just wanted to give credit where it's due because what I love about live music, especially at the Ryman, listening to it, I can watch the musicians do their thing. And I'm watching this dude absolutely just tear it up. And I've seen plenty of musicians that are good, that are famous, but I always love when there's just a one random musician that just tears it up and he's not already like super duper famous. And I don't want to get too deep into that, but I just wanted to say that the Ryman is a great place. It was a good night to listen to bluegrass music, just hanging out I just bought one ticket because Jerry Douglas is one of the best dobro players in the world, and his concert was amazing. His set was awesome. They played this song. It became one of my kind of songs of the summer. I have a whole soundtrack, like a playlist. That's the word I'm looking for. I can pull it up on Spotify, and we can talk about that in a little while if I remember to talk about it. That's kind of all I've been listening to today has been that playlist, and for the past couple of days, because summer's basically not over at this point, but June and July have passed. Like I said, it's August 9th right now, so we're going to do kind of a subject to change summer recap episode of the Quarter Life Crisis, because I've been listening to this playlist because now that it's the bulk of the summer's over, I don't really want to add anything new to it. I still make playlists from time to time on Spotify. A lot of them are private. A lot of people don't even know about half the playlists that I make. But let's see what we got next up in these notes. I kind of already caught up all about that bluegrass music right there. I brought my camera with me too to that concert, and I got some awesome photos. I might make the cover photo for this one of the photos that I took when I was downtown, because I have this cool color effect. I feel like I've totally talked about this before with this new camera, but you'll see the picture whenever I post it. It's a cool photo. I think whoever this is that's listening to this, I think that you will like it. All right, I had to pause for a brief moment to catch up on my notes to see what we were going to talk about next, and that's something that I'm going to get a little bit more vulnerable here with this, and it's not like it's something that I'm super concerned about, but I'm going to talk about exercise because that's another one of the common themes that I found with this show. And around, I guess, April, around whenever I had to go to my brother's wedding is kind of when I stopped working out more consistently. And then I started losing a bunch of weight. And if you know who I am, you know that I'm already a skinny individual. I'm a skinny, freckled, fair-skinned, red-headed. Nah, I'm not going to curse myself out about that. I'm just describing myself. But what I'm saying is I quit working out and eating a lot. I guess I just started eating less and realizing, oh, dude, I can make it through the day. And then I'd be stretching, or I'd bend over to pick up a hat that I dropped. I'm like, oh, I'm a little dizzy right now. So I've been on the path to correcting that by eating a lot more, specifically chicken and rice, and trying to work out, because working out will help my mind more than anything else. And that's something I really got to take care of, especially during the summertime. It's a nice day outside. I mean, it actually kind of does feel nice outside. It's not really a blue sky, but overcast, 80-something degrees in August. That's normally like the hottest time of the year. I'm probably going to go exercise this afternoon, but I've been trying to do that a lot more, eat a whole lot more, so I'm back on the path to greatness. Not actually greatness, but, I'm just trying to take care of myself, stay healthy. That's why I said I was going to get a little bit vulnerable right here, because when I got that PC is around when I stopped going to the gym all the time. But over the summer, I haven't really been on this PC a whole lot. I've been watching TV, watching movies, hanging out, just spending time outside. That's what I really wanted to do. I got a grill. The grill isn't even in my notes, but I can get on a tangent about the grill, because if you know me, you know that I like cooking, and now that I have a grill, I used to have one in college, but that one caught on fire. We don't need to talk a whole story. We don't need to tell the whole story about that one right now. But yeah, I used to have a grill and it caught on fire. Now I have a new propane grill. I got a propane grill, baby. I've been cooking out a lot, so that's been nice, making a lot more sides, getting more creative with my dishes, and just being like, you know what? I am determined. 3 meals a day minimum, drinking milk. We don't need to get into that whole inside joke. If you know, there's just a whole inside joke in my life about milk, and Laughing to myself in this room just makes me feel crazy, but just the word itself just cracks me up, man. But what is the point of all this? That's what the next note in my phone says after I talked about exercise. Yeah, I let myself slip for a little while and I wasn't happy with it. So I decided to start eating more and I'm back on exercising a whole lot. Even if I don't go to the gym after work, I bought myself a resistance band right after I moved here, maybe a month or 2 or 3. I know I had it before November of last year. That was a huge purchase for me. And I've got like a yoga mat or whatever to stretch out. Sometimes all you need to do after a long day of work is just stretch out, man. Listen to some music. I listen to a lot of Braves baseball, but I think most of y'all, if you know me, you already knew that. So what else have I been doing with all this time? Other than working out, not a whole lot. As I mentioned, I've been enjoying the summertime, but there's been enough people at work or other people in my life that have asked me about where this show has gone that I knew I needed to sit down when I had the day off. It's not really the morning, it's the afternoon. I decided to sleep in today. I got a random day off in the middle of the week, so I'm enjoying it. I figured I would just go ahead, hop on the microphone. I'll probably just edit this tonight, record it during the day, and maybe come back and edit it later on. I'm hoping that I can get all the way up to an hour this morning, afternoon, whatever you want to call it. But there's a new park about 15-20 minutes from where I live, and apparently they have a basketball court there. And I have not found a place to play basketball since I moved here. I just play on the mini hoop, and I need to get a basketball because I used to have one. Lord knows what happened to that thing. I had one of those just all black street balls. The thing had amazing like grip for the handles and all that, but I don't know where that thing is. But I heard that there's a new basketball court in town about 20 minutes from where I live. It's not super hot, so I'll probably go out there. But as I mentioned, I'm getting on a tangent. I want to get back into all these notes that I've got going on. This is another random thing. Okay, this is a work note. Shout out to whoever this guy is. Apparently I wrote down his name was Marcel and he threw me $5. Something I found at work is that anytime we get someone from the Northeast that has like a gold chain, like a Cuban link necklace or like a fancy watch, they'll normally throw some cash your way. So shout out to those people, man. Hell yeah. I'm now looking through it and I'm just kind of reading through these like a timeline of what I've been up to this summer. And apparently there was this monster truck rally in town. Not apparently, there was definitely a monster truck rally in town. And I definitely got caught in the traffic of it for no reason. Sometimes the Apple Maps really just, they irritate me, man. I don't like using Waze either. I don't know what it is. Everyone loves that Waze app, but I cannot stand it. I don't know what it is. I'm not a Waze guy. Maybe I'm just ignorant. Maybe there's something that I'm missing. But I remember I had to drive. It took me probably an hour to drive home because of this damn monster truck rally in town. Anytime that there's an event at Nissan Stadium, it's going to be, there will be hell to pay. Not actually. With traffic, there will be, but you just kind of have to avoid that area, man. Nissan Stadium has been hot this summer. We have had Taylor Swift, Beyonce, George Strait, I think Luke Combs. We've had a lot of big acts come through town, especially at that stadium this summer, which has brought a whole lot of tourists to the place that I work. And I actually wrote down another note about this guy that I met, that he was talking about Stevie Ray Vaughan, dude from Texas. I find that I get along very well with a lot of the people from Texas because I love that style of music, like the Texas dancehall country music, the Buck Owens. Well, Buck Owens is kind of more California. Sometimes I feel Bakersfield. Well, no, that's more Merle Haggard, I guess. I don't know all that. I don't want to give myself too much credibility here. There's definitely some people that are like, you have no idea what you're talking about. But I don't give it. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to cut that part of that out. All right, here we go. We're at a good part of this note. At some point during the summer, this is around July 10th, I was writing around like 8:45 that night, talking about songs that never go stale. What I wrote down is a song that I've been listening to all summer. And I was like, is this song always going to make me feel that way? Is this song always going to be good as hell like that? I know that I can listen to a song like 10 years later and it's still good, but is this song that I'm thinking of? You can think about any song and whatever one that came to your head right now, you can let me know what it is if you want, or you can keep it to yourself. But there's always that one song that'll just kind of, it never goes stale, man. It just makes you feel some type of way. And I don't even feel like sharing the one that I'm talking about right now because I think I've talked about it on another podcast. So that gives you a reason to go listen to previous episodes. But there's just so many songs out there that I hope never really go stale like that. And I'll talk about a different one that I listened to yesterday because I made a playlist yesterday. And let's see. Well, of course, when I'm trying to load up my Spotify on my desktop computer, it's not going to want to work for me. Okay, now I think things are starting to load. Where did it go? Little Wing is a song that has gone stale for me. It's a good tune, and I love that album, but it's not the same as it was when I heard it a long time ago. Forget About Georgia by Lucas Nelson. that one's kind of coming back. I've talked about it a lot. Another one of my common themes or philosophies or things that I think about all the time is how music taste is just a constant continuum that goes back and forth, up and down. I say that and I really don't listen to a whole lot of new music, but there was one song that I will give a lot of credit to Bob Dylan for. Actually, I don't know if he wrote it. He probably did, because Bob Dylan was known for writing a lot of music, but I don't really like Bob Dylan that much. I actually love to just make fun of Bob Dylan and his fans, but The Man in Me is an amazing song. The one that's at the beginning of The Big Lebowski. That's just an amazing song. So I got to give shout outs to Bob Dylan. That song made it on the summer 2023 playlist. I think that one is not private. So if you ever want to check that out, that Spotify is JPW0064. It looks like I wrote down something that I thought was poetic at 12:30 in the morning, and now it kind of looks cringe. It's not like a bad note. It's just something that I don't want to share because it could be worth something someday, you know? There are some ideas that you just got to keep to yourself. Like I said, there's been stuff that I've already recorded on here that I'm going to have to go back and delete. Like I've talked about highlights. I don't really talk about low points with my job on here because no one wants to hear about all that. But this summer 23 playlist is already almost 8 hours long. Got 106 songs. There's bluegrass music, Waylon Jennings. There's like EDM. It's just been the soundtrack to my summer all night long. But let's see where we're at now with this notes. Oh man. Cicadas. The cicadas have been running amok here in Nashville, Tennessee, at least in the part of town that I live in. I don't live in like the city. I kind of live near some woods. I guess the cicadas are probably in the midtown part of Nashville as well. I don't think that they'd even be able to survive in downtown because there's not a whole lot of trees down there for them to live on. But I live near the airport, and these damn things they're like louder than an air conditioning unit outside. We have a back porch with the AC unit out there. The AC unit's not going. I'll get my speaker playing outside while I'm cooking dinner. But dude, those damn cicadas, I had some close contact with some of those things over the summer. Like they'll fly in on you, or I don't know, there'll be some on the ground at work, and it's like you try and step on the damn thing and it won't. You know what I'm talking about. I try not to hurt them if I don't have to, but man, if they're all up in my grill and all that, if they're flying into me while I'm just chilling on my back porch, then nah, I'm not messing with that. But the cicadas have kind of been a pain. It's towards the end of the summer, so they haven't been as loud lately. Like last night, it was actually really nice. It was just a peaceful evening without having to hear those damn loud-ass bugs. But that's part of summertime in the South, man. Every bug just comes out of the drain. Those damn drain flies. I found out there's like different species of gnats this summer. I had to look that up after I was like, what in the hell is going on? I kind of had that issue with one of my previous apartments with these drain flies. It's just gnats that, I mean, the name kind of speaks for itself. But the last thing in the subject to change note before we switch it over to something else is the FBI said, you know, UFOs are real. Aliens are real. We knew this. They're just distracting you from something else. I don't know if they really are. It's just funny to say that. But there's definitely someone that's going to listen to this and think that I'm a psycho just for saying that. But we've been known that these things are real. That was the very first episode, was UFOs and receding hairlines. That was in the very first episode. And here we are, probably a dozen episodes into it now, and we're back on. We've been known about these things, man. You can't fool us. Let's see what we got up next. All right. This is like the third or fourth take of me trying to plow ahead with the next note on my phone because I wanted to talk more about the songs that never go stale, or just the topic of stuff like that. If you want to send me a song, you can. I'll probably listen to it. This kind of is part of how I discovered a new song that's gone on that playlist of summer 2023. And, you know, I've been listening to one of my favorite bands now for, I guess, 7 years that you could say, and I'm still uncovering stuff that I haven't heard from them. Like, I've probably listened to most of the Pink Floyd albums, just just throwing them on when I'm doing stuff like folding laundry and not really paying attention to it. There's, of course, a lot of the albums that I go back and listen to all the time. I've got, you know, Animals, Division Bell. Everyone always talks about Dark Side of the Moon. Momentary Lapse of Reason is something that I wrote down that I was listening to when I was taking notes one time. But I'm still discovering new stuff. Not new. This goes back to the 1960s. 1969, they released an album that was a soundtrack for a movie. I believe the album's just called More. And when I was kind of taking the poll from some friends of mine, I was like, send me a song that you think will never go stale. It's something that when you hear it, it's always gonna take you to some other place. And there's this song, Green is the Color. I'm not gonna name drop, but I do want to give a shout out to a friend of mine that sent me that song because it's become one of those songs of the summer for me. Like, they're one of my favorite bands. I had heard the song probably in passing. It kind of sounds a lot like The song from Adam Hart, Mother, is another one I think from the 60s. Or it might be 1970 that one came out. But how do I call this band my favorite band if I haven't really listened to all their music and then I come across something new? I wrote that down on my phone. I was like, wow, bro, is this really your favorite band? And, I talk about my Mount Rushmore of all my favorite artists, of Pink Floyd, Marshall Tucker, Sturgill Simpson, and Childish Gambino. But let me go back into talking about Pink Floyd because, as I said, I've glazed over almost all of their albums. But I finally found one. I finally just sat down and not absent-mindedly listened to it. I sat down and listened to it with intention, and it's become one of my favorite albums of the summer. The music is like a little depressing, but this is 60s Pink Floyd right before they kind of got their entire sound. But it's something that I struggle with is happening upon new music. I just listen to a lot of the same stuff all the time. If you look at my playlist on Spotify, especially if you look at the downloads when I'm in a place with no signal, I'll look up one song and I've got 14 downloads of the same song because it's on 14 different playlists. But sometimes I will happen upon a new song, like that Pink Floyd album. I just had to have someone send it to me, and then I sit down with intention and say, all right, I'm tuning into this. I'm just going to grill out and do. I don't even remember what I was doing in that moment. There's a lot of songs that the reason why I say they never go stale is because you hear it and it'll take you back to whatever that place was, like the feeling under your feet or whatever the smell is. I know it's kind of a strange thing to call to attention to, but I had a whole playlist in high school that was just about tailgating. It was just classic rock, like Boston songs, no AC/DC. I've kind of been anti-AC/DC like my whole life. We can argue about that if you want to, but it was a lot of Boston or not Styx. I just know Boston was on there. There's plenty of other stuff, probably Bob Seger in there, Guns N' Roses maybe. That playlist would probably make me cringe now if I went back and looked at it because I talk about it all the time. The music taste is a continuum. Like with my old iPod, I know I had Kesha songs on that thing. Like the very first iPod Shuffle I had, I don't know how old I was when I had it, but my dumbass was downloading Kesha songs back then and probably stuff from like Nickelodeon shows. I know I had some Tobuscus, not epic rap battles. I probably had one of those on there as well, but I had like a literal YouTube trailer. I mean, when I say literal, that's part of the title. I'm not trying to use that in the correct grammatical sense or whatever it is. I don't need to get into all that, but I suck at finding new music. I'm just not great at it. But this summer I've found some good stuff. Like if I look through this playlist, let me go towards like the bottom of it and see. Okay, some other stuff that I found. I think I have talked about this, but Stevie Wonder, apparently he went 4 or 5 for 5 in the early 70s with albums. I know that I've talked about that before because I downloaded some of it, but I know I never even listened to it. But circling back into Pink Floyd and them being one of my favorite bands, I shouldn't be mad at myself, I don't think, for not knowing the song if I've called them my favorite band for so long. But I guess celebrating the idea that, hey, you just found another song that you like by a band that you love. It's always just something that they show up at the right time. Like something I used to say a good bit is it would reveal itself to me at the right time. Like when we were at that Bonnaroo thing, if we ever had to use the bathroom or get somewhere, just if we were thinking about it, we just not manifest it, but it would reveal itself to you. So that, like a few other artists that I've listened to a lot this summer has been Charlie Crockett, who's become someone that I've enjoyed this summer. I don't know if he's gonna stick around, if his music is gonna like stick to me for like 10 years. Like if I'm gonna go back, well, there's some stuff that he's done. I like his covers of stuff a lot. Like he's got a song called Good Time Charlie's Got the Blues off something he did in 2019 maybe. It was just a whole album of covers where he has like side projects, or like Jamestown Ferry, which was originally a Tanya Tucker song. I think I like his version more. This is a Texan Creole type of dude. I don't know hardly anything about Tanya Tucker other than the fact that she rode a horse up on the stage, and we don't need to tell that whole story because that horse got a little excited to be there. But hey, man, that's pretty cool that she rode a horse up there. But that Jamestown Ferry song, that's pretty good. Charlie Crockett's been great, but I've also gone back and listened to stuff that I like intentionally avoid sometimes, like pop music, like Circles by Post Malone. Song's like 4 years old now, and I think that one's always going to be a banger pop song. Oh, man. One of the best songs this summer that I don't know how it took me this long to find it, but man, I'm glad that I've finally just, like I said, it revealed itself to me, is Waiting in Vain by Bob Marley and the Wailers. That has been an absolute favorite. I've been doing the Receiptify thing at the end of most of the months for the past couple of months and kind of doing it on my Instagram that I have for this show and the creative platform outlet thing, but I love the Receiptify so I can see what all I'm listening to the most every month. little bit of Brockhampton here and there. I know that there was not a new DJ, but this old DJ kind of made a comeback. So I found one of the songs he sampled, put it on there. This guy called Pretty Lights. I don't know, like I'm into house. I don't really know what type of live music it is I want to be following around all the time. Because there's bands that I like, but I don't think I could ever see myself as someone that just follows a band around the country all the time. I don't have a job that I could do stuff like that. But what else have I been listening to in here? All right, that's not really important, but I guess to close out that segment, my question for you is to send, or my task, my homework for you is to think of a song that when you hear it, it does take you back to that summer of 2016 when you were hanging out with your friends, or that really is a lot more relatable to my exact generation, like people I was in high school with, because I think summer 2016 was one of the most fun summers for a lot of us. I mean, that was when I had my first job. That was a great summer right there. But if you have that song that takes you back to the summer that you got your braces off, or it doesn't even have to be about the summer, just if you have a song like that no matter when you hear it, how often or what it is, it does something to you. I love those types of songs, and it's cool to just hear someone tell me about why it does it, or where, like, that's, I don't know, I just love music, man. I like hearing about people's stories about this stuff. Like when I say that bluegrass concert I went to, that We Hide and Seek by Jerry Douglas, the live version, just the way the fiddle was doing its thing, man. And that's something I wrote about a lot this summer. I noticed when I looked through the notes on my phone, is the instrument that's had a hold on me. And I know I've talked about this, has just been that fiddle, man. Anytime I hear a really good fiddle solo and some bluegrass music all summer long, it's just been cutting deep more than, I mean, I like the dance music too. Like that'll make you want to get up and move. But if I hear something good like that, I just want to sit down and listen to it. Just hear a master at work, or it's not even classical music. I don't know what it is about it, but it just makes you feel a certain type of way. So if you are into that type of music or whatever it is, just hit me with it. I know I've got more notes to go through, but I'm only like 30 minutes into an episode that's probably not even going to be an hour long, but it is on a new not a new microphone. It's on the good microphone, the better microphone that people enjoy listening to me on. So let me just take another brief moment. I guess it's only right that the last note that I go through for now until I start improvising on this episode is going to be the one that's titled Summer 2023 Conclusion. We've talked a lot about the playlist. I guess I could probably post a link to the playlist in the description of this episode on Spotify or Apple Music or YouTube, whichever platforms this episode lands on. But this is one that I just started taking notes one night. I didn't write the day that I started taking notes, but I just said that whenever my life gets whenever I start thinking my life is boring is when I start taking notes and trying to find the highlights in it. And what was I doing while I was trying to write? I was in my kitchen trying to do a million things at once. I was trying to make rice, make chicken. This is before I got the propane to make the grill. I don't really grill chicken. I normally will just make it on the stove, but here I go, damn, talking about that chicken again. But I was in the middle of writing, then I got distracted after listening to that momentary lapse of reason from 1987, which I was talking about a little bit earlier. But it's like 2 days later, I picked back up the phone on one of my days off. And I remember that morning, I was like, oh, this is another random day in the middle of the week, like I have right now, where I have the day off and I'm doing laundry. And I get hit with the deja vu. I don't even think I need to do laundry today. I probably will. I'll probably have to go to the grocery store. That's pretty much what it's like when you're an adult and you have a day off, is you're going to have to go to the grocery store, wash your work uniform, depending on what type of work that you do. But if you have a professional job and you got to wear a collar or you got to wear a uniform, it's your day off, you're likely going to have to wash it unless you have a lot of clothes. But I don't have a whole lot of that, but I don't need to get into all that. All I know is that one day I started taking more notes about my summer 2023 conclusion, and I had a deja vu moment that morning. So I started taking notes about it, because like I said, anytime that I think my life is boring, I want to take notes so I can think about it and just be thankful for the fact that I have a job, a roof over my head, I can pay myself to eat, and I can drink coffee basically every single day. I'm looking at the coffee mug that I've been drinking out of today. And I love coffee, man. It's one of the best things in my life. Like, I don't know what it is. I just look forward to drinking coffee almost every single day. If I can have a moment to sit outside and enjoy it, and it's not super duper hot outside, I don't know. I'm kind of getting on a tangent right now. But sometimes when I hop behind the microphone and I try to tell you a story, I just, I have to picture that there's another person in the room whenever I'm doing this. I'm reading straight from my notes right now. I'm not really improvising with this, but I don't know who the person would be in the picture right now. Right now, I haven't really been picturing anyone for the past, I guess, 30 minutes that it says that I've been recording. I've just been looking into my phone and assuming that there's maybe someone listening on the other end. The person that I do have in mind, I'm not going to name drop, but it's like a friend of mine's family members. They said, oh yeah, we heard about the show, but there hasn't been an episode posted, but we still want to tune in. So this one is specifically for y'all, but it is truly for everybody that ever tuned into the show. We got past 300 listeners. I mean, it happened before the summer, but we went over 300, and I think that's pretty awesome. For less than a dozen episodes, over 300 listens. I think the one that has the most listens is maybe 50 or so, which is just phenomenal. Hearing people ask me about what this show is about at work, I know that's not a good sentence, but people at work will ask me what this show is about, and I have no idea what to tell them sometimes. So if you are someone that I work with and you made it to this point in the episode, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully the show kind of makes a little bit more sense to you right now. It's a show about nothing. Not exactly Seinfeld. It's a show about me trying to figure out this crisis that I find myself in my quarter life. I'm only 23, but Lord knows I'm not going to make it to 100 years old. If you legitimately believe that every human being is going to make it to 100 years old, I disagree with you. I'm not going to say anything that's super over the top because I don't feel like triggering anyone that is listening to this. I try not to trigger people too much. It's all like jokes, especially when me and Root hop on the microphone. We started talking about pirate ships and like handicapped pirates and stuff like that. I don't really want to offend anyone today, but I know I'm getting on such a random tangent. But the people that I have in mind, what's up to these family members who I can't name drop, if they know who they are, it'd be really cool if they did. But sometimes I'll just get on a tangent and then I just have to stop myself. I'll just have to delete some of this audio and post, and we're going to pick back up with talking about my prediction for who my Spotify Rap Top Artists of the Year are going to be. And of course, we've talked about this band plenty enough already, so I think they'll be number one is going to be Pink Floyd. I don't know if Sturgill Simpson's going to make the top 5 artists this year. I mean, he might. It's still early, but if I had to call it right now, like if I got a Spotify Rap today, it would be Pink Floyd, Billy Strings, maybe even Marvin Gaye, and then Alison Krauss and Union Station. I think with all the bluegrass I've listened to, it'd have to be them. Khruangbin is another one. I think I only put 4, and I think it gives you 5. But yeah, Khruangbin is another one that I've listened to a whole lot this summer. Billy Strings a whole lot, pretty much all year long. Like In the Morning Light is another one of those songs with the fiddle solo in it that might just be really short, but I wrote down something. This is a few nights ago. I just wanted to bring it back up because I'm thinking about it. But at 7:50 in the morning before I had to go to work, I was listening to it, and I felt the need to write it down that song hit me like that, just on the theme of songs that never go stale. That might have to be the main description for this, is songs that don't go stale. That might even be the title of the episode. But I think Subject to Change is a good enough title for this episode. But that's me trying to call my Spotify top 5 early on. What do we got next? And to wrap up that thought, if I had to guess what the top genre is going to be on the Spotify Wrapped, if I got one today, it's going to be capital B, bluegrass music, with the B emoji, with the B for blood type B emoji, the Boolean emoji. I use that B emoji all the time. I use the P one, like the parking, just pushing P. That's just some dumb trend that kind of died off a long time ago. But I don't know. I just like the way that word sounds, or not the word, but the letter itself. But you can't really use some of those letters on the microphone too much because it'll make it start popping. And it just did it when I said that right there. So I'll have to go correct that audio and post. Every time that I say the P, I got to like back away from the microphone a little bit just so it doesn't blow out anybody's ears. But then I started writing down later on that day. I like took a notes while I was making breakfast, but this is that deja vu day where I had the day off. And then later on I started taking notes about, do you really like a song because the way they gave it to you? This is something that I meant to touch on, but I didn't really know how to say it earlier when I was talking about it. But do you really like this song, or do you like the way they gave it to you? Like, there's pop songs for a reason. Like, it'll have 2 huge artists, but the song really doesn't sound that good. It's just the hype around the song. Like, when I was listening to the music I was listening to when I was writing this down was Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst by Kendrick Lamar. And Don't Kill My Vibe is one of my other favorites on the album, but I think the best one is the Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst. It's like one of those slow burn songs. I don't think it's on my main playlist because that's more of an instrumental rock type of playlist, but I don't know. This is just a question for you, is do you listen to something because you actually like it, or do you just like what's hype, like what's awesome? I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, I like what I like, but there are some NPCs out there, man. This summer has been a summer of seeing a bunch of random NPCs. Another just common theme of the summertime of conversations that I've been in is talking about the fact that there's a lot of people out there with no internal monologue. Like, I guess when you're listening to this, you're quite literally listening to my internal monologue because I'm not really thinking about what I'm saying before I say it. If you can't tell by how jumbled half of my words sound in this, but the things that I've been thinking about is the notes that I've been taking. So I'll read my note and then I'll say whatever I feel like saying next. But then I wrote something. So like I said, this is a vulnerable type of podcast. It's not really a mental health thing, but this is just me telling you how it is, man. I remember on that same day, I was writing down, I was like, am I depressed right now? And then I wrote down, I was like, you're out of your damn mind, man. If I'm still getting up to go work out, making myself eat, and intentionally going outside, then that's not depression. Lately, I've kind of been slacking on that. Like when I wrote this down was towards the end of July. Now that it's August, and I'm like, dude, I haven't done my podcast in a while. I've still been working out. It's just that creative engine kind of hasn't been going. Like that's part of why I've been gone. I'm trying not to make excuses, so I just drop something. I'm trying to pick it up. When I record this stuff, I normally have something I'm fidgeting with in my hand. Today, it's something that has something to do with the cable and the mic stand right now. But I wouldn't say that I got to that point this summer because I've been intentionally going out of my way to be active and things like that. But the creative engine hasn't really been rolling. But we are now back. We are so back. We are so back. I'm not actually gonna have to bleep that out because I didn't curse there, but so some of the parents that may be listening to this, yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and cut out some of the curse words in here so you can listen to it with your kids in the car. Not that there's gonna be a whole lot of parents that are out there listening to it, but I want to appeal to all audiences. I'm trying not to offend too many people if I can help it. But man, those deja vu days are just kind of a weird feeling. You just wake up, you're like, I've lived this day before. How do I make this one a little bit different? And then you do whatever you can to make it a little bit different. And like I said, whenever I start thinking that my life is kind of boring, I start taking notes to just be more thankful for what I've got going on in the world. And apparently my computer has been playing Spotify for I don't even know how long. I really hope that none of that audio is going to end up on this because I'm going to have to go back and re-record a bunch of stuff. And that's not really what I feel like doing. But my Adobe Audition is just showing audio coming from this microphone right here. So that's awesome. I'm going to take a note and I'm going to take a brief moment and see what else we got going on next. Sorry that this one has been chopped up and all over the place. There's just been a lot of stuff to cover. And I want to give you all the content that I've got written down. And then I can start maybe another episode a week or two from now with some new notes, give some more refreshed things going on. Maybe I am going on a cool little, not an adventure, but I'm going camping. And next weekend, I'm going to see one of my favorite bands, the Marshall Tucker Band, at an underground natural amphitheater called The Caverns in Pelham, Tennessee, and it's going to be dope. I'm going with a good friend of mine. We're going camping, and I'm super excited. Last time I went camping, of course, was when I went to that music festival. We're going to be even more prepared this time because we went it was my test run for a camping music festival. Now that I know how I like my setup and I know what to improve with it, it's just going to be a great time. We're only camping for one night, of course. It's not like we're going to be there for a couple of days, but I'm praying for good weather. I'm hoping that it's not going to rain. Heat, I don't think will be an issue. I really don't think that's going to be an issue at all. It's just the rain that I don't want to have to deal with because we are out there at this venue. It's a good ways out, and we can talk about that probably after that is done, but that's all I'm going to say about the Marshall Tucker Band concert for now. And now I will take that brief moment to see what else I want to talk about because we're like 40 minutes in. There's definitely going to be some pauses and things I'm going to have to edit out, but just give me just a moment. And it looks like we're coming to the end of the concluding note of this summer. But this is just something that I wrote down because I woke up in the middle of the morning at around 5 a.m. And I don't really catch the sunrise ever at my apartment here. I'm never up that late at night, or I never wake up that early in the morning because I have no true reason to unless I'm trying to catch a flight, which I don't do too often. But this morning was August 4th. And I woke up, I remember I talked to people about this at work because I thought that there was something wrong. It was so orange outside. It was just like perfectly saturated. Like I didn't go downstairs and go outside and just like breathe in the air or anything. But I woke up and it looked like when they had those Canadian wildfires and the smoke was hitting New York City, like that Blade Runner orange. But it wasn't I guess it kind of was a disturbing orange if it not woke me up, but I even looked it up on the news. But that was just a cool thing right there. And man, we got a screen door. Not a screen door, it's just like a glass door on the front of our townhouse here, and being able to watch the sun go down in the evenings while I'm listening to the Braves, that's just been a huge highlight of this summer. I've really enjoyed this past year that I've been living in Nashville. This has been a great summer. It's been a good episode, I think. It's going to be a shorter one. It won't be a full hour, but it's going to be something for you to listen to and share with your people. And actually, around a year ago today is when we left for Alaska. the top left corner of the map for me. You know, if the earth was flat, I finally checked off one of my 4 corners. And with my 5 points is the big trip right there. But I'm 20% complete, man. And I don't know where my next location's going to be. I want to go down to Key West and see the southernmost point so I can say I've been to the opposite corners of the U.S. And then I got to go to the opposite other corners in like San Diego and, well, Tijuana's, you know, in Mexico. But if I can go to San Diego and then Maine, I don't know where I'm going to go in Maine, but if I can hit all those corners, I don't know what's going to be in the very center. I've already kind of been to Colorado. I don't have any business in the damn Great Plains. Like, if I'm going to the plains, I want to go to Mongolia, man. One of my favorite teachers from college. I wouldn't say he's actually my favorite. Well, one of the coolest ones. He's my geology teacher. I follow this cat on Instagram, and this dude has been going all over Asia this summer. I'm not going to name drop him, but this guy's cool, man. If he ever wanted to be on this podcast, if I could just talk to him about his adventures, that'd be awesome. And, you know, maybe that lies in store for me down the road a long ways away. But I don't really have much else to talk about other than minor inconveniences, like when you're so thirsty and you have one last sip of water in your hydro flask that I carry around because it's my emotional support water bottle. I take that last sip and I start choking on it. Man, that is the most annoying inconvenience because you just wanted to kill that thirst. And then you just find yourself a few steps behind, and then there's, I don't know, that's just the stupid stuff that I'll write down on my phone sometimes in the middle of the day. If I get heated about something, I just got to write it down. Like Theo Von said. Now, he didn't actually say, that was a completely different context. But if I'm ever upset, man, sometimes you just got to write something down and give your moment to think about it and just give yourself a moment to breathe. And then another thing that it looks like I'm going to close this one note out with is another thing about vulnerability. That word, it's this going through semantic satiate. I'm struggling here, ladies and gentlemen, theys and thems, whoever's tuned into this episode. I want to appeal to all audiences, but I'm struggling to get out this last vulnerable moments of leaving your Spotify-like songs or whatever your playlist is on shuffle at a campsite whenever you leave it with your phone there. I was thinking back on that Bonnaroo thing, and I remember at one point I had to go get water. I had to go to the well and retrieve enough water to take a shower with this bag thing on the side of the car. But I remember leaving my phone shuffling on a speaker at the campsite, and I think I came back and it was still going. But dude, my like songs is there's this whole Skyrim soundtrack in there. There's like Bryson Tiller in there. I don't know. I'm trying to think of how many songs I have. 1,337 songs. What is that, Leet? I didn't even realize that. That's a old inside joke on the internet right there. But let's see where that was, where that shuffle would have been. That would have been around. Okay, so I had some solid stuff in there. Let me see, from song 46 all the way down to 1337 could have shuffled. And there's some, you got to be careful, man. Like, if you're trying to impress some people, you got to be real careful what you leave on at the campsite. Because if you mess up that whole vibe, it can throw off the whole weekend. Not for real. I'm just kind of talking, not reckless, but I'm just saying whatever at this point. I've kind of run out of stuff to say. Maybe I'll start looking through my pictures and see if I can find any more stories to share with my audience from this summer. To piece together the last scraps of this episode, looks like I wrote down one day when I was just having a tough time, my frustrations as of late, having that one eyelash that won't go away, that's just stuck to your eye right there. People that nail holes in the wall at 7 a.m. on a Saturday, that one's so specific, and I guarantee so many different people have had that experience. But if you have had that experience, I share that pain with you. Another random thing is jobs that are for people that are just weird. Like, there are certain jobs out there that the people that have them are always just going to be, that's just weird, man, for real. I'm going to probably have to bleep that out or maybe just cut that. I don't even know because I think it's relatable, but like being a taxidermist, I guess that's a family business that you get yourself involved in, but I don't want to throw any family members under the bus, but like if you own a funeral home, all right, there's another guy, I don't know his name, but I'm going to throw a small business under the bus right here because the guy that ran this place is a weirdo. They had this cigar shop in downtown Auburn. If you went to this school, you know the exact cigar shop I'm talking about. And I remember that owner or whoever was working this day, this guy was just a weirdo, man. I mean, he always had this dog that was chilling outside, and that really wasn't an issue, but I walk in this place one day with a Led Zeppelin shirt on, and this dude calls me a communist while I'm checking out. I don't know what it is, but that bothers me still to this day. I was just trying to go in there and get some cigars. I'm 21 at this point, so yeah, I could buy the cigars, but I don't know what it is I did to this guy, man, but this guy called me a damn communist, so I put him under the list of people that are weird, or people that have jobs that are for weird people. So I guess to summarize this episode, to close it out, because I don't want to talk about frustrations or negative points like that, but if you want to send me an email, please do, with a song that you think will never go stale. Send me a title of a job that is only for the weirdest people you know, or it's just a job that the people that you know, it's just, I don't know what it is about them, man. They're just a little bit different. Bluegrass music has reigned at the top of my Spotify for the most part this summer, and some soul music. I've found some new music. I've found some classics. I've found some good music this summer. It's been a very music-filled summer. I've been listening to way more music, I think, this year than I have in previous years. I've just kind of always had something going. Like, I don't mind sitting in silence from time to time. Like, I don't always have to have music going. But I do enjoy having that Jamestown Ferry by Charlie Crockett going. Or now that, the summer's here, the summer's kind of closing, but there's still sunny days. Everybody Loves the Sunshine by Roy Ayers. Ubiquity? Is that how you pronounce that? Men I Trust. That's been a great band for me this summer. Bluegrass music like the Osborne Brothers. Rest in peace, Bobby Osborne. Here's another song, Hurt by the Manhattans. I found that song this summer, but I originally found a song that sampled it back when I was 2014 or so. It's like Kenny Lofton by J. Cole, which is probably on YouTube or SoundCloud. But Hurt by the Manhattans has been a good one. I think I've already talked about We Hide and Seek by Jerry Douglas, or like Alison Krauss has the live version of it. That's great. There's been other music that's been like Red Dead style bluegrass, like Choctaw Hayride. Just the name right there, man. Been big into Tyler Childers this summer. As I mentioned, I'm a bit partial to the fair skin, freckled redhead, those individuals out there. Shout out to that guy and some of the music that he's put out. He's got one of the top country songs right now. I think it's called In Your Love. I've only heard it one time. Maybe I should listen to it again today. Waiting in Vain. That's been, without a doubt, one of the best songs of the summer. It's just, I guess you could say it's a perfect song. Travis Scott released a new album. Haven't really been listening to that a whole lot. A lot of dance music. Like, I'm just looking through my songs and telling y'all stuff that I've been listening to. Like Fool for Love, the Chris Lake edit of the Jerry Garcia Band, Keene College 1980 concert. Like, just the music taste is just all over the place. But the After Midnight, Eleanor Rigby kind of duo 3-piece thing they did. The Charlie Crockett blues cover songs, and that's just my songs lately. But I've been listening to a lot of Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix to me is one of my favorite artists to listen to during the summertime. I've been listening to both versions of Can't You See by Marshall Tucker and Hank Williams Jr. What else we got? Really not a whole lot. Steely Dan, Summer sometimes. You got to listen to Gaucho. Shout out to my friend Nikki, who's been on the show before, for showing me that one. Tame Impala. Green is the Color by Pink Floyd. That Pink Floyd album, as I mentioned, has been a big highlight for me this summer as well. Just one of my favorite bands. I've listened to some Kid Cudi this summer, some Brockhampton. But that Private Number by Sonny Stitt, it's from the 60s. I would check that out if I were you. That and Something's Got a Hold on Me by Etta James. 2 songs that were sampled into a song that I can't think of the title of right now. But if you enjoyed this episode, thank you for listening. I'll catch you on the flip, I guess. I don't really know what else to do to close these episodes out. I'm always terrible at conclusions, unless I'm doing my material with what I do for work, the concluding paragraph. But thanks for tuning in. I don't know when the next episode's going to be, because I just went through a whole lot of notes in less than an hour. I'm probably going to just edit this later on today, because I need to go to the grocery store. I need to fold some clothes. I need to do some laundry. I want to go to this park. I need to probably get a basketball if I'm going to do that. But I got a busy day. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Wear your seatbelt, I guess. I'll talk to you guys later.